when it comes to President Trump's DOJ. Just look at its response to a judge that requested a formal declaration that the anti-weaponization fund was really dead. Trump's DOJ called it simply unnecessary. The DOJ said the $1.8 billion fund was for people who believed they were wrongly targeted by the government. Critics called it a slush fund. And the White House said that acting AG Todd Blanche killed it. The DOJ argued Blanche's word is good enough. I've never seen that happen in court of law. Trust me, Your Honor. Forget emotion, forget anything else, evidence. No. Trust me. That's how it works. In today's filing, the department pushed back on officials signing a formal declaration. They, quote, compelled testimony of senior officials from the executive branch implicates serious separation of powers concerns. My panel was back with me. Do you know, you're an attorney. I mean, the idea that a judge would say, okay, put it in writing, that what you say is actually the case. It's not unusual for them to request it. It's why we have motion practices in this country and arguments that are in written and law and evidence supporting it. Why is this treated this way by this DOJ?
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy, right? There are no separation of powers concerns by a federal judge asking the Justice Department to say in official form that we're not going to do the thing that my order said you can't do.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's just how it works, right? He doesn't rely on the oral statements of the Attorney General or the acting Attorney General, right? He can say, I want a statement from the Department of Justice in writing, under oath, that is not impeding any separation of powers. It is not compelled testimony. That's ridiculous. And yet, here we are.
Here we are. This is, of course, Todd Blanche. He wants to be the permanent Attorney General. Is this going to somehow derail that for him? I suspect not.
Maybe. I mean, it depends on how mad the Senate is. And at this point, Trump has sort of had it with the Senate, whether it's Todd Blanche or Bill Pulte, his Director of National Intelligence, his demand that they pass the SAVE Act, their refusal to pass FISA. All of these things are sort of tied together. Not a lawyer, to be very clear. But I've gained enough experience watching how this game plays out to know that go ahead, judge, fight this. It's going to get appealed, and I'm pretty sure that if past is prologue, DOJ is going to win on this one, and the judge isn't, because they're going to argue, no, the judge has no right to tell them this. And Donald Trump at a certain point could decide he's going to pursue the weaponization fund in a different way. And so ultimately, this is the fight DOJ wants to have. It's a conversation they'd like us to have. Because you know what? Trump doesn't want to talk about it. He prefer to talk about this, so that's what we're talking about.
I'm not so sure the judiciary would see that level of authority because
I think this judiciary.
Well, I think it's having them say essentially that my orders, you can thumb your nose at it and not even respond in writing, say something. Stranger things have happened, but you're in that role.
I think what's happening here though is that it's duplicative. It's unnecessary. Not only did Todd Blanche say this in testimony before Congress on multiple occasions that this is dead, the actual court filings in this case that are signed by the Associate AG Woodward, which is one of the three people that she needs to get this signed declaration from, says in those court documents that he signed that the fund is dead. There are multiple statements that have been made in writing and orally in front of the judge, in front of Congress, that
So
says
why is one
that it's
more?
dead.
Why is one more?
At what point in time do you
Hold on.
say enough is enough?
Well, when there is a credibility issue, and by the way, when you're talking about the times that a judge requires there to be something in writing, this happens all the time, not just for a Todd Blanche or an Attorney General. It happens when someone stands up and says, Your Honor, I'm going to abide by the terms of my probation. And they say, I swear I'm going to stay away from this person. I've got a protective order. And the judge says, okay, well, here's what you're going to sign to. You're going to agree to those things. That's the everyday person. So why wouldn't an Attorney General hopeful say to themselves, I'll put it in writing because I stand by my word?
Because that's his boss. Because that's me. And his boss views that as weakness. And at this point, this is the fight they want to have. Okay, judicial branch, you want to tell the executive what to do? Ultimately, in the constitutional system, the president is only accountable to Congress, which has to impeach and remove him. And is it going to get to that level now? Now, one day, Blanche decide to just sign this off, but they want to have this fight for a little while to flex. They want to exercise power to tell the judicial branch they can't do it.
But what with personal branch?
Todd Blanche may have said it, but the president hasn't, right? The president was asked, do you also think this is dead? And he would not say yes. He thinks it's still a great idea. That's probably why Todd Blanche won't sign sign it because his boss still wants it, still thinks it's a good idea. And Donald Trump doesn't really care about the judiciary.
Well, he
or
does.
the
He thinks
Senate.
that they have no right to tell his
He believes this entire term has been him flexing, saying the executive branch has absolute power. The executive branch ought to be able to do, even said it in your interview, that he's not seeing any limitations on his power. And so he wants to have this fight. The thing is, so do Democrats. And I think a lot of Democrats who see that this slush fund is incredibly unpopular, not just amongst Democrats, amongst independents, and increasingly Republican voters, heading into a midterm, being able to say, this is the fight he wants versus fighting to make your life easier.
Well, here's the fight he's having tonight. It's about algae. I kid you not. I mean, there was a lengthy True Social post. The president is now scapegoating the algae that's in the reflecting pool. He's blaming the problem on vandals.
those
Mother-
algae vandals.
Mother Nature is a vandal. He has a new post out. You can see parts of it right there, of course. And he is claiming that an ABC reporter tried to rip the rubber off the surface, and police are now investigating. I hate to turn to you, Leslie.
No, I know.
But you know what? Okay, well, I'd like to ask, why is this? You are.
I'm going to defend the
You want in? Let's go. Okay, well, I'd ask is
Who
why
wants
is
to defend
this?
the algae?
Why is this consuming him on a Friday night? I mean, there are literally very pressing issues right now. Why is this the one he wants?
So I want to again say, I think the president has the capability of focusing on multiple things at once. But to me,
Yes, algae and rubber.
and I think that to me, I don't understand why people are so upset that the president is trying to make Washington, D.C. more beautiful for its 250th. I think for him, he's excited that he's the president for this big, important moment in our history. And he wants to make sure that the city looks beautiful. And he's frustrated by the fact that it's
That he hired an idiot who screwed
It's
up
not going well.
the pool, right, or the pond, whatever.
I think the question is whether or not people are angry that he wants to make it beautiful. Everyone wants beautification. Fine, got it. They're talking about the prioritization of topics like this in light of other matters that are well, he may think equally, but are far more pressing.
He's got a lot going on. And I agree with Leslie. He can do a lot. He's already demonstrated he can do a lot at one time. He can manage a lot of things. The question is, why is he managing this one? Right? Why is this so important? Who cares about the reflecting pool when you got Iran, you got Ukraine, you got China? There's a lot going on in the world. The American people are suffering with inflation, higher gas prices. There's a lot going on in this country. The reflecting pool at the Lincoln Memorial is not the thing for the President of the United States at 10 p.m. at night to be writing on social. It is.
Did you ask him?
I didn't ask him that, but I can give an easy answer. Why is he focusing on this? Because it's on TV. I'm serious. We're focusing on it too. So the president consumes a lot of media, and he has this love-hate relationship with John Carl. He sees John Carl out there being I didn't see the clip, but allegedly healing up pain. And the president's like, no, screw that. Like,
Right.
you want to talk about that? Fine, we're going to talk about it. So that's what he's doing.
All right, let's test it. I want to talk about Summer House. Bravo right now. Super